The night was unnaturally silent. No wind, no birds, no sound except the soft hiss of fog rolling over the dead earth. From the heart of an ancient valley known as the Hollow Graves, the ground began to tremble. Beneath the soil lay bones older than memory, fossils buried by centuries of silence. Suddenly, the trembling grew stronger, stones cracked, and the fog rippled like disturbed water. A deep, guttural growl echoed through the valley. Not the growl of a living beast, but the rumble of something that had long forgotten how to breathe. From the cracked ground emerged a horn, blackened, chipped, and ancient. Then another. And then the skull of a creature lost to history pushed its way out, eyes glowing with faint embers. The Gravehorn Tricera had awakened. It was not just a creature, it was a curse made flesh. Skin made of petrified rock, veins glowing faintly with molten decay. Steam hissed from its nostrils as it took its first breath in 1,000 years, shaking dust and bones from its back. The fog swirled around it like ghosts gathering to witness their king's return. With each step, the ground sank. The Gravehorn's claws dug deep, leaving cracks that spread like spiderwebs. It raised its monstrous head to the pale moon, and a roar shattered the night. Forests echoed in response, and animals fled miles away. The beast was not hungry for food. It was hungry for vengeance, for the world that had forgotten it. The ruins nearby, old temples and graves, began to glow faintly with runes, as if reacting to its presence. The whispers of the dead echoed faintly, murmuring the creature's forgotten name. The fog carried its legend once more. The Gravehorn walks again. By dawn, the news had spread through nearby villages, cattle torn apart, forests trampled, and the sky reeking of sulfur and ash. A lone hunter named Kael Draven, known for tracking the untrackable, arrived at the edge of the hollow graves. His cloak was ragged, his eyes sharp with experience, and his weapon, a spear of obsidian bound with runes, was forged for one purpose: to pierce the flesh of legends. Kael stepped through the fog, his boots crunching over skulls and roots. He had heard tales of Gravehorn, a beast that died with the old gods, resurrected when the balance of life and death was broken. But seeing the massive footprints, each large enough to swallow a man, made the myth all too real. He knelt by one print, touched the cracked earth, and whispered, "You're not just a monster. You're a memory trying to live again." As the sun set, Kael made camp near the bones of a fallen giant. The night pulsed with distant roars, slow, deep, and ancient. He carved protective symbols into the ground, but even he could feel the soil trembling beneath him. When the fog thickened again, Kael saw it. Two glowing orange eyes in the mist, low and massive. The Gravehorn was watching him. For a heartbeat, time froze. Kael gripped his spear tighter. The creature did not attack. It studied him, as though remembering something. Then, with a sound like thunder cracking through stone, it turned and vanished back into the mist. Kael exhaled, knowing this was only the beginning. The hunt had truly begun. 3 days later, deep within the valley's core, Kael found the beast again, resting among ancient bones of its kind. The place looked like a temple made of skeletons, glowing faintly with decay. The Gravehorn stirred as he approached, its breath heavy with smoke. Kael whispered a prayer to the old gods, raised his spear, and shouted into the silence, "Your time is over!" The ground exploded as the creature charged, its massive horns tearing through stone. Kael leapt aside, rolling through debris as the beast's tail smashed against a boulder, reducing it to dust. Sparks flew from its scales when the spear struck its side. But the wound only glowed brighter, as if feeding on pain. Kael fought fiercely, dodging, striking, shouting incantations, but each blow seemed to wake something deeper within the monster. Then the Gravehorn roared, a sound that tore the clouds apart. Lightning streaked across the valley. The runes on Kael's spear flared white, binding them both in a storm of energy. For a moment, he saw visions. A world long gone, where beasts like this ruled, and men were mere shadows. The Gravehorn was not evil. It was surviving, trapped between life and death. As Kael's strength began to fade, he dropped to one knee, realizing that this battle was not about killing, it was about understanding. But the beast, blinded by its own agony, lunged again. The world shook as hunter and creature collided, their destinies bound by blood and flame. The valley was silent again. Smoke drifted over the broken ground. Kael lay among shattered bones, his spear splintered, his body battered, but alive. The Gravehorn stood before him, breathing heavily, its wounds glowing with fading light. It looked at Kael, not with hatred, but sorrow. Slowly, it lowered its head. Kael understood. He rose weakly, touched the creature's rough hide, and whispered, "Rest!" The runes on his palm began to glow, the curse transferring, the beast's rage flowing into him. The Gravehorn let out one final breath, then crumbled into ash, its bones sinking back into the earth. Kael fell to his knees, gasping as black veins crawled up his arms. He had become the vessel of the curse. The fog returned, swirling around him. From the darkness, whispers began again. The Gravehorn walks once more. His eyes flickered orange. The valley trembled. A new legend was born, not of the beast, but of the man who became it.